Thank you very much. You know, when that Ashwebi party actually is something people need to come out of, and it's not cheap anymore these days that you hear millions of naira, and then the sewing is equivalent to how expensive your Ashwebi is or whatever your sewing is. I remember some time back, somebody, I don't know this person directly, so it's a friend, let's say the friend of a friend of a friend. So they invited me for the party. And it's somebody's, funeral service. Not like the person, they buried the person, but the person wants to do a party. And then they said, oh, Joke, let's go for this event. I said, no problem. And they started selling Ashebi. And the lady came to me, Joke, buy Ashebi. I said, for what? She said, this is. I said, do I know the person? And, meaning it doesn't, these days, it might not even have to be someone that is close to you. And it doesn't have to be. So the issue, I just told the person, no, I won't. The person, oh, when you're doing something, I want to sell this, will not. I said, no, you don't. I might not even sell till you come and buy a trendy. I'll just give you color, go and wear your clothes. Because these are ways that, and you can imagine in a year, 20 people close to you are doing parties and they have a shrebi. Do you want to buy the whole 20? It's either you package, it's that you just pick the color, do something. But it's very important that people also need to look into this aspect, because these are things that actually takes money from people. And we also seen in even the school system nowadays, there is a lot that they do that they ensure that parents pay for, that are not even, is even more expensive than the school fees. So which is also, which needs to be looked into, because whether we like it or not, as much as we want all of these things, yes, we did most of that when we were growing up, but there were things that are valuable to us. Like you're doing school party and you want to enforce so much, you pay for this, you pay for that, you do this, you do that. No, those are ways that even the children, that's the way that we need to look into to help parents, help save the children, save money with all of these aspects. Well, I know some people might tell me, oh, this is not right, what you're saying is not right and all of that, but I would like to hear your opinion on that.
Exactly. I wanted to say, permit me to share some few experiences. So, one of the things we do in our own home is not to buy ashwabi. Since we got married, we just said, "Come, I'm not going to buy ashwabi." So, what are we going to do? People come, it will look like you are very stingy. You don't want to share in my joy. So, what
Mm.
we decide to do is to say, "Okay, oh, you have brought ashwabi. Oh, very good. When is the wedding? Oh, this, that, that. Oh, we are so happy for you." Sometimes we tell people that we don't buy Oshobi. So I'm like, why? Is there anything wrong? Is it a spiritual thing? Is it one thing? He said, no, it's just our own family value. We don't buy Ashrebi. So, but one thing we now do afterwards, so decide to package a little token of money or gifts, as the case may be, to say, oh, this is our way of supporting your occasion. That we make sure we do so we can show that we love you, but Ashwebi is a no. And we do it at our own discretion. It's not like, once they say Ashwebi is so amount, you can't cut it down. So even if you don't have up to that amount, we decide to say this is what we want to give to show you love. Then on the
Mm.
part of the school party thing, it's a big deal. So I remember a time my children came from school and they said, oh, every child is paying 12,000. I'm like, what money is that for? And I have 4 kids. How much is that one? I said, no, okay, so tell me, what do they use the 12,000 for? So they will give us certificate for the. So there are people graduating. The graduating students will pay 12,000 naira. The ones that are not graduating will pay 6,000 naira. I said, see, no problem. The one graduating will pay for that one. The rest of it that are not graduating stay at home. My children say, Mommy, but fine. I said, yes, but it is true. What would they use the money for? Oh, they will use it to buy gifts for you. So we can buy gifts some other time, but it's not a need now. So we have done that consistently, and the school even understand that that's our own system. And we have decided to leave peace. So instead of going to go and say, we need so money, please borrow us so money. Our children want to do end of year party. I told the school owner, I said, see, we have not even finished the school payment, the school fees payment of the children. So it's end of year party money we want to be running after. No, it's
Mm.
not wise.
Yeah.
So that's how we've been able to navigate it. And we paid for the one graduating. The other ones, you go and enjoy with your people, but they won't give you rice. They will give you all the other necessary things. But when you come back home, we will now go and do our own dates. We'll go for family dates and we'll make sure that we did it. At the end of the day, the children saw value in what we did. So
Mm.
that's how I've been able to practically do it and not put ourselves under one burden of looking for this money, that money, and just feel overburdened about what is not even necessary. Children are going to school to go and learn. So all of this, you see. So that's why I said, let me share.
Yeah, it's true. That's actually a very good one. You made them see reasons why. It's not like you left them hanging. Oh, you can't go this and that, but you also covered for it, and they too they will pass that on. So it doesn't mean that you don't want them to, because you know that children are actually pressured. I want to be like my other friends, so they know that by the time they cry, you have to attend to. But God has given you the wisdom to be able to navigate through it.
But my children said that our auntie said we should cry for you, that when we cry for you, that you are going to pay. I said, oh my goodness. Do they have to tell you to cry before we do the needful? We gave birth to you, we'll do the needful. At another time, they were preparing for party, they were doing choreography. So they've done all of the rehearsal. So it was time to now choose the uniform they were going to wear. So they told me that this is starting uniform. And we don't have the uniform at home. We tried all we could do. And we're not financially buoyant at that time to get it. So I called them. I said, my husband, I said, see, choreography is what we love. In fact, the song you're dancing to, we also love it. But you see, because we don't have the money to buy this uniform, you won't join them. And they say, oh, mommy, but why? So we sat there and told them that don't worry. After the party, you will not see how we will not sit down. You will not do the choreography for us. We will camera you. We will not put you on the social media platform. You will see. And then they did it really. And then we shared it on the social media platform. They were happy. So I've just been able to see how to use what we have at the moment to just make ourselves glad and not to put ourselves under unnecessary burden, all in the name of money, money.
Mm. Thank you very much for that. So, what are some common financial mistakes parents make while teaching their kids about financial literacy or money?
Many parents fail to teach their children intentionally about money, among other things. I've realized that our parents, the parents that raised our generation, just supposedly think that we should grow and just know some things. It has changed. In this age and time, whatever you want your child to know, you must teach them. So if you want them to also be financially literate, you must begin to intentionally teach them. And one of the ways to teach them is not just to sit them down and be giving them instructions. No, model it to them. Modeling is key in parenting. So it looks as though children will not just be hearing what you are saying, but they are seeing what you are doing. So what they are seeing has more impact to be instilled into them much more than what you even tell them, right? So we must begin to intentionally talk about money matters to our children consciously, because many parents leave that until when the children are now teenagers or when they are preteens, that's when they now want to talk about it. No child is too young to learn about money. If your child can hold a currency and know that this is money, begin to teach the child. One time, one of the things we did was to bring all the Nigerian currency and began to show our children this is 5 naira, 10 naira, and like that. At that age, they were able to familiarize themselves with all the currency. Time went on, we took it a step further, and then we now told them it's time to begin to save, it's time to begin to do this and all of that. So you can do it age appropriate for your child, making sure that they know what they need to know when it comes to money. Once your child is now a preteen, you want to begin to teach them simple budgeting, as little as income and expenditure. It doesn't have to be anything complex. So another thing that parents do as a mistake is to give everything the child asks for. Everything the child asks for, they will give it to them without even removing natural consequences. Natural consequences is part of how we can learn. Children can learn when you allow them to fail. We must not begin to bail out our children when they fail. So somebody gave your child 200 naira and you're like, you know our rules, you have 200 naira now go and save it. And your child said, no, 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 I won't save it. I won't. Then the child went to go and use the money to buy whatever and then hurts everything. Now, the natural consequence for that is the fact that since the child have used that money for buying biscuits, you could decide to say that you are going to deprive that child from taking any other benefit, maybe snacks for the next 2 or 3 days. That will sink so well into the brain of the child to say, oh, mommy scolded me, disciplined me in this manner because I did this. The next time when somebody gives the child 200 naira or any money, of that nature, the child will think of what happened to him or her at that time and decide to go and save because the child does not want to go through that route again. The last mistakes that parents make is to teach saving without teaching them earning. I mentioned it earlier on. They just teach us to save. And I said, it is only money that you are given that you can save. What if nobody gives you money? So how do you earn money? We must begin to teach children that money don't grow from the purse. Some children just think that money just have a way of growing inside the purse. At the time, my children would say, they said we should bring so money from the school. I said, okay, no problem. We would pay. Then the next thing is, mommy, will you transfer? I'm like, maybe it's the money that is inside the account you want to transfer. What if there's no money there? So they understand that there's something called transfer. So I now took my time to begin to explain to them that when you say you want to transfer, it is because there's money in the account. So if there's no money in that account, you have to work to earn money into that account so you can transfer. Aha. So we must begin to teach children to earn. And they can earn by, you can make them begin to do some handcrafts, some do-it-yourself skills that they can do, some knitting, and a whole lot of handcrafts that they can involve themselves in the home. And after doing them, teach them to sell it to their immediate families and friends. Uncle, see what I did. I mean, this morning, my children just did something, and I'm like, what's this? One of my daughters brought out an empty table water and then tore the body with blade, tore it round, and then put a balloon inside and blew it, then covered it, and then hung it, told me that this is a design at night, it's going to glitter and everyone will be shining. I'm like, wow, what creativity. And it was really, really fine. I'm like, where did you learn this from? I said, her auntie taught us. I said, ah, that's good. I began to encourage it. So if they have done that, they can go and tell it to one uncle, one auntie around there, auntie. Even if it's 5 naira, 10 naira, they will begin to collect money and save. I mean, it's close to the end of the year. One other way we can teach our children to save is to do what? To begin to, we used to do promise card then when we were little. It's still something they can do. Uncle promise me this time is coming, Christmas is coming, and all of that. So they'll promise them and they will follow through. Some people will promise and not commit to the promise. But the follow uncle, you are promising, you have not given it. The following through too is a skill you are teaching your child. Not just starting a thing and don't finishing it. No, but you teach them to start a thing and to finish it. So when that happens, you begin to make them go through that route and begin to learn that, oh, so following through too, eventually this brother gave me what he promised. And then once they get the money, they have handed it, teach them to save. And after saving, teach them to give. Let them know that it is more blessed to give than to always want to receive. Sometimes when we give some things to people around us, my children will say, I know you will give, but why are you even giving? They have not given us. I'm like, you don't have to wait for them to give you before you give them. Children can really be very funny. And that's why the children, you are like the school your child is going through. That's like what it is. You're like the university your child has enrolled into. So everything you do, they see. So when I bring some stuff from maybe market and I divide some, so you're going to share this with those other students around. The way they were giving to us in necessary those days, and share this with that, share with that. But mommy, why are you giving? Every time you are just giving them. I say, yes, now the more you give, the more you will have. So sometimes, okay, now all these clothes you're no longer wearing them. We have pack all of them, make sure they're fine, wash them, dry them, arrange them very well, and begin to give to this brother, give to that brother. My child of 3 years this morning took a skirt because that's our practice. She took a skirt and she saw that that skirt now is a bit smaller for her. She now said, Mommy, I'm going to give this to Rejoice. I said, yes, because it's smaller. Right? Yes. Now in my head, she has gotten the message that you have to give. And that's a way to teach them gratitude, teach them to be grateful for what they have, teach them to also show empathy to people around them. So modeling is key in all of these things we talk about. It's not just instructing children, but modeling the right skill to them.
Thank you so much. That was really, really mind blowing. I really appreciate that. So even as we round up, I know I have other questions, but we are running out of time. So how do you have a final word? And I know I have a question about digital age, but you have actually explained some things. And we know that on TikTok, there are different people saying different things that can actually make children want to do stuff. But in your final word, can you just put a word on that?
Okay, digital age. Yes, you can allow your children to begin to save online, but with parental consent. So you can also guide them through. So that will not also introduce maybe pornography or some other stuffs to them or some cyber bully. And I want to say that financial intelligence is not learned in one day, it's a journey. It is
Mm.
something that you have to practice consistently. So even me, I'm still learning. And that's why every parent must decide to be intentional in working on themselves. Because the more you work on yourself to get better, that's how much your children will enjoy you. So when you teach your child, you must decide to teach them how money works, how you earn money, how you can steward money, and how you can multiply money. Because all of these will help them to be able to treasure money as a tool and not a god. So that we don't raise children that can do anything, killing people, doing anything as they like, all in the name of just being wealthy. You teach them not to look after money, but to teach them to be valuable themselves. When they are valuable, the value they bring to the table will bring money to them. And so it is money that will be looking for them, not them looking for money. At the end of the day, you'll be able to raise a child that is wholesome, that is emotionally intelligent, financially empowered, and a child that can rise.
All right, that's how far we can go on this episode of Let's Talk. Well, thank you so much for being part of the show. We really do appreciate your time and we look forward to having you again. And to you out there, thank you too for being part of the show. Ensure that you are able to teach your children the best way to handle their finance. And remember, financial literacy starts from any age as long as the child is intelligent enough to know what money is. Until next time, when I come your way again with another topic of Let's Talk, be good.